Hey everybody, Kelly Sue with Cleopatra Art Studios, where we teach kids and families how to paint and create together. And today I'm going to show you my techniques for dealing with anxiety and self-doubt, because it happens to everybody. And this is a project we're going to do. It seemed appropriate today. Heart with Wings, very abstract. But we teach this with all of the teens in the local schools every year. This is the first year we haven't done it, and it's spurred on because one of my interns was touched personally by teen suicide here in Maple Valley. It was kind of high for how small we are, and I wanted to teach kids at a younger age how to start dealing with some anxiety and self-doubt and the voices that talk to you that tell you you're not good enough at a young age. So any age can use these techniques, and adults have been wanting to do it. This is the first time I'm putting it out there. So I'm a little nervous myself. I'm not going to teach it exactly the same way that I taught all of these teens, and you can catch the replay later. But they helped me a lot, and they helped a lot of kids in town. So maybe you can find something of value in this class today. And I need to tell you that I am not a certified therapist, and if you need one, you should find one. But for me, somebody that suffers from kind of really low anxiety, I'm just a nut job all the time, but occasionally I get a little nervous or upset or uptight about something, and this is how I deal with it. So everybody says, journal, journal, journal. Get your feelings down on paper. So hey guys, thanks for watching. What's the number one reason nobody wants to do that, no matter what age you are? Well, probably number one or number two. Number one reason is you are terrified that somebody is going to find your words that aren't meant to hurt anybody, but they're healing you, and they might just hurt somebody that reads it. I wrote about my definitely an adult daughter when she was going through a hard time, and how I was dealing with it, just kind of getting my feelings out. And I'll be darned, I didn't leave it laying around, but she found it. So it happened. So one of the best things you can do is journal or write down your feelings, no matter how ugly they are, and cover them up. And that's what we do. We do that here. We teach people all the time to do that. When you come to a painting event with me, I'll always have a pencil there by your canvas, and you can go ahead and just get it out. Your words have power, but once they're in front of you and you can face them, they don't have as much power over you. Now, I also lead the kids through a series of exercises that help build them up and help them realize who their tribe is, who they can count on. Also, how to help them set goals. And we're not going to go through all of that today. And also, the importance of acting on your emotion. Your emotion gives you momentum. If you can learn to harness your emotion, you can do amazing things. So I'm teaching the kids how to act on their emotion, not act out. So even as adults, we act out on our emotion. And, some of the choices are, self-abuse, either overeating or workaholic, or some of the other not so pleasurable, well, they're probably pleasurable, activities you can choose when you're hurting inside or things are just too much for you. But if you can get them out and kind of clean up, purge a little bit, and find out that it's really not as bad as you thought, you can make a plan, you can move forward. And sometimes you're just so bogged down that we can't do that. So the number one thing I would do is get yourself a piece of watercolor paper, something heavy. So you can work along with us today. We're just going to do this abstract painting. And you're going to pick one symbol today. Something that's important to you. I chose a heart with wings. Maybe yours is a basketball, or yours is a letter. Maybe it's a flower. And I try to tell you guys to use something with really little detail, nothing with a lot of detail. It's just going to be your symbol for where you are right now. And mine is just going to be a heart with wings. And we're going to just journal for a little bit and write some things down to help us find our tribe. to help us find a good place so we don't have the self-doubt. And everyone has self-doubt. Every time I go and I hit start, I'm like, oh. And I know that I have tools that I've developed to get through that. But honestly, full transparency, it's full terror every time. My tool is I talk really fast and I talk a lot. And I try to force myself to slow down. And I know it's high energy and some people really like that, but a lot of times people are like, just shut up already. And it's okay. You have to learn that not everyone's gonna like you. So really, what you're gonna wanna do is we're gonna keep this pretty easy and get right to the art place, is use the paper for your words. Get them out no matter how black, how hurtful they are. And immediately cover them up. Cover them up so that they're your words. Nobody else sees them. You got them out and you have a lovely piece of art that you can always look at and remember where you were and how far you've come when you've done this piece of work. So I'm just going to use some heavy duty Canson watercolor paper. It's cold pressed. I think it's 90 pounds. It could be heavier than that. Some tools I'm going to use. I'm going to use a gift card that is dead. It has an X on it. There's nothing on there. Hey guys, thanks for joining. So assorted paintbrushes if you want. I'm going to use my fingers because anytime you can get in there and be tactile, you are just turning on a new part of your brain. I love using oil pastels, the black ones specifically, and then some colors. So moms, if you're going to run your kids through this program of, hey, you're having a really bad day, get your feelings out, we're going to cover them up. We're going to make some beautiful art with it. Nobody's going to know what was on your paper. It's just between you and the paper. You know, if you're going to do that with them, you can pick out any colors you want. Kids love the glitter paint. The glitter paint. Oh, that's not one. Okay. You can just make it yourself with Elmer's glue all, water, and some fine glitter dust. They love the metallics, everything like that. So basically I would have step one, write your feelings, get them out. If you have somebody that's struggling with some goals, I'm going to keep this kind of light. I can go back in and make heavier videos and we can break it down. What you can do is ask them who they are. You know, who are you? So here are some good questions for your class or your family. Who are you? Who am I? And so if I'm running this in a classroom setting, I'm going to be like, who's my bakers? Raise your hand. Who's my hikers? Who likes to camp? Who's my athletes? Who's my artist? Who's my musicians? You know, who is my introverts? Who are you? Write them down and just take as much time as you need to fill that out. Because I find that if you don't know who you are, you know, your self-esteem is going to be down here. You have value that you add just being here. There's something that you do. Maybe you're the best hugger, you have the best smile, you make the best cookies, you will stop and help anybody that needs it. You have value. What is your value? If you don't know, maybe ask somebody else. Because if you have friends, right? They are drawn to you for a reason. So find out who you are, what brings you value, what makes you who you are, this exciting person. So if you have somebody that's working towards a goal, one of your kids, and they're starting to get really bogged down, maybe their goal is to be on Cupcake Wars and they make the best cupcakes, or maybe they're trying to get on a team. You know, have them write down their goals. Here is my goal. It has to be measurable. What do I mean by that? I hope to get on a team. What team? By when? Okay. The big hurt here. What are you going to do? What are your steps to get there? You can't just sit in front of the Xbox all day and hope that you can get on the basketball team or the gymnastic team. I'm going to get up 10 minutes earlier. I'm going to do 500 3-point throws or free throws. What are your steps to getting there? How are you going to get on that team? How are you going to get on Cupcake Wars? You got to apply. They're not going to come and ask you. So who you are, what makes you who you are, and your goals. And then what I also like to ask in a classroom setting is, who's your tribe? Okay. And we break it down further in our class. Is like, who are the people that are going to be there for you? Okay, who are the people you are there for? That's just a different list completely. People that are going to be here for me, my mom, my dad, my family. And it switches throughout your life. Maybe you and your mom are mad at each other, so she's not really there for you as you get older. Who are you there for? Maybe that list is similar. Maybe it's not. And then what I like them to do for what I like to do is I have the kids circle one name that no matter what happens, that person has your back. I think it's really important that like we have these emergency routes here in case a volcano blows or there's a tsunami. You need to have an emergency route with your anxiety, and don't overuse it, but when you need something, who's that one person you can go to and you can just unload and just say, or I just want to be peaceful here with you today. Find out who that person is. So you're going to go through these exercises. This seems like a lot today, and like I said, we normally do it in an hour and a half to 2 hours, and it's just kind of a start, and it's just to let the kids know, whether they're a teenager and they're 18, or whether they are, we normally start them in 3rd grade. Before then, life is like, we always joke about it, your life is Snow White, right? What has happened, I don't know, but normally you're still like pretty happy and excited, and hardly many bad things have happened. I know I can be wrong, but getting into the school district around 3rd and 4th grade, you're kind of finally aware what's going on around you, whether it's good things or bad things, or there's divorce in your family or death in your family, or you're just starting to get disillusioned with that sparkly Disney life you had before then, because we don't like to start this before that age. It's just too heavy for them. But you could ask, if you have a younger kid and they're feeling kind of low, you could ask them to get their feelings out, and let's cover it up with paint. Throughout the class, I'm always asking, what's that one symbol? Today, pick a symbol. And I'll ask them, know your symbol. What is your symbol? And I'm always very surprised at what that symbol is. Sometimes it's a cupcake. They're making a cupcake. They're in Cupcake Wars, or a basketball or a baseball or a football. And for me, it's heart with wings. So it just depends what you're going to do. So you have these toxic words. You also have some uplifting words. You can't all be bad, but I find out if I get the bad out first, then we can fill in and push in the good words behind. So it's not even a compliment sandwich. It's just like, here's the bad, let's unload, and here's the good. So I would ask a heavy question like, what is the worst thing anybody's ever said about you? That's a hard question, but we all know what it is. We all know that one time somebody said something and we're like, ugh, just broke you down, whether they meant it that way or not. And then we write that down, we get them out. They don't have power over us anymore. We don't have it inside. And then we talk about what's the one thing someone said about you that complimented you so much that you wanted to just skip for the rest of the day. So write that down. And then you're finishing up with that thought and they're just like, what? I had a great day. And then we're gonna cover it up with some pretty art. So I wanna get started with that. If you're working with young kids, you'll want to control your color palette. What do I mean by that? If you give them every color in the rainbow, you're gonna have mud. So what I do is I give them warm colors, hair dryer, cold colors, that kind of thing. So we have our words. Theirs is gonna be in pencil. And what I do is I have them just grab a stiff paintbrush. Stiff paintbrush, nothing special. And I have them grab black. I'll have a classroom of 20 and all of them will do this differently. And then I'll just say to start activating the page. Nothing special, you're just going to start activating the page with your black. Some kids cross out words because you know those words are still in their mind, so they'll come in and they will cross it out. But I want them to be a little bit more intuitive. I want this painting to flow, so I'm asking them to use curvy strokes because they feel better than straight lines. They're just a happier place to be. So I'll just ask them to use as much black as they want without covering up the entire paper. And we'll leave this up for a little while because maybe it's just, you're just not in the right place to watch this right now. And I get it. But with the weather changing, pretty soon here in Seattle, we're gonna have 200 days of rain. We have to be able to have some tools to adapt so that we can be happy and less anxious. So when you're done, I have them flip or turn their page to indicate that they need to change their perspective. So we have to find a new way of looking at things. If you're going to do this with your class, you can have the music playing. You can see the paper sucks in the black paint almost immediately. It's kind of very gratifying, and you know there's a little scrubbing action happening. Once again, that's firing neurons in your brain. That's giving you pleasure. So art isn't just visual. You know, you're going to use many of your senses for art. Oh, bucket of water, yay. At that point, if you're doing this with your kids or with a classroom or even with yourself, you want to start adding tactile exercises. So I grab my credit card and I will grab white, which I'm not going to use first, and pre-mixed gray. Ooh, and this is pretty icky. So I'm just going to mix some real quick. Pre-mixed gray. And then I pick up one fun color. So have your friends pick one fun color, or you pick your favorite color. Teal's just really in right now, so that's what I use. So just going to use the credit card, debit card, gift card. Take your gray, and you're just gonna go in and start scratching up your paper. Now remind your classroom, and I'll remind you, that this is just paper. And the heavier brand you have, the better your paper is going to survive. So I like to use, okay, you can see how many classes I've done this with. I like to use the Canson watercolor. It's 140 pounds. It's cold pressed. Oops, sorry. It's really made for it. But you're gonna find some of your kids are more tactile than others, and they're going to be, you know, kind of rubbing the paper. Remind them it is just paper. So get in, get out. Okay, I'm gonna go ahead and clean my card. If you're in a classroom setting, you can have your parents donate used cards. Coming in with my teal, and remind them to go off the paper. If you don't want to keep the story of your painting on the inside, you want your story to go off your paper. Hey guys, thanks for watching today. I don't have my glasses on just yet, so I can't read your comments. It's important to leave the white space because we're going to use that. But honestly, there's no wrong way. If a kid has just completely finger painted in the space, they needed to do that at the time. So you saying, wait, stop, you didn't do that right, will cause more anxiety. We're not looking for the artistic solution right now. We're looking for an anxiety fix for the moment. So you have to have a little grace And so have some grace with yourself, especially when you paint yourself. I'm going to grab some white, and I'm just going to add some white back in. Oh, beware, this is a complete paint suck. It'll suck down your paint so fast. So if you had some paint maybe that was starting to turn, good use. Make sure you're getting the edges. The table's going to get destroyed, but it's for a good cause. If you're just joining me now, because I know people jump in, they jump out, I'm Kelly Sue with Cleopatra Art Studios, and I'm just sharing some of my anxiety tricks using art to help me with some anxiety. We teach this to children ages or grades 3 all the way to 12. A lot of adults have asked for it, and we were just so busy we couldn't, but it's about time, right? I'm also, this is my project today, but if you're painting along, my goal for you is just to pick one symbol that kind of symbolizes where you are or a goal you have, whether it's a football, a basketball, cupcake, whatever it is, the scale, whatever it is, something that's got you kind of all in your head and help you get that out. So the paper is absorbing the paint almost immediately. It's helpful to have hair drying stations set up because it allows somebody a minute to kind of get their thoughts together. At the studio, we ask the kids to come up and get 3 colors at a time and just work in 3s. And that way it's just not a big old brown mess. Once again, if you have younger kids, you can limit their palette, meaning keep them in the warm or the cool colors so that they're not making brown. However, it's okay. It's a process. It's really the process. I covered the paper with words, powerful words about who I am, my goals, powerful words about who my tribe is, who has my back, who do I have their back. And now I'm going to cover it up, because if I write in a diary or a journal, that's not safe. I can't feel safe. I can't get my thoughts out. I can't be honest. And why are we anxious? Because of those little nagging thoughts. I can't be an amazing artist if I don't clear my head first and get out the whole, my kid isn't doing so good here, I'm not being the best mom here, I forgot to get butter at the store or toilet paper and the world's out of it. Get it out. Cover it up. Make beautiful art on top. Okay, so I'm going to pick some colors. So I'm kind of in the magenta, because what is today? You know it. It's Valentine's. I don't know if you're having a Galentine's Day or it's just a normal day, or you guys go all in and you got like the roasted duck and the strawberries that have the chocolate dipped strawberries. My husband, we don't normally celebrate Valentine's Day. We started off pretty humble, and let me get purple. And I'm gonna do this purple. And we always waited tables in restaurants, so we did not celebrate. And it was a good day, but we were exhausted afterwards. So we just kind of continue that tradition, maybe get just a little chocolate for the kids, and here's $5. They're 22, 18 and 13, 14, and they still think it's great to give $5. But that's all we did. Okay, so what I do here is I do provide assorted paintbrushes. But personally, I use my finger, okay? That's just who I am. I'm very tactile. It stimulates me. It stimulates part of my brain, and it gives me great pleasure to play with my fingers. I don't use my pointer finger ever. I use the middle or the ring finger, and the reason why is your brain has this big line right to your pointer finger. It's always telling your pointer finger what to do all the time. I want to tell my finger what to do by what I feel. So I feel like I can feel better with my middle finger, if you know what I mean. So I'm just going to come in and whatever feels good. If your teal's still wet, you're going to be creating another color, good or bad. It just depends. But mine, I sat here talking enough that my teal is almost dry. So I'm just gonna come in with my finger. You could literally go in like a puzzle and paint all the spaces that are open. Turning your page to change your point of view. Maybe I want to turn it this way. And just start filling up the outside. I want you to keep in mind this white space around the edges. You gotta focus on that a little bit, put a little effort in, and cover it up. So whatever feels good with your middle finger. I want you to try this exercise, guys. It's really helpful. I always provide either water bottle lids, I always keep those, or something circular so the kids can come in, or I can come in and kind of stamp it up. What feels good? It's very intuitive. I am not teaching at this point. I'm providing moral support as a cheerleader and a paint squeezer, literally. And the kids have never had as much fun in their life. And so will you, okay? So different sizes of circles. The foam brushes work fantastic. You know, I only have 5 million of them. The foam brushes. And then the sleeves, of course, to the Starbucks cups. If you rip them open, they have great cardboard texture. So we're just kind of looking for anything with texture. Keeping in mind, you're going to be putting your symbol in the middle, and it's going to definitely cover up a lot of the inside of your work, your abstract work. So don't fall in love with it. At this time, you could splatter art. I kind of finish up with some splatter art, so I don't necessarily do too much now. You certainly can if you wanted to. You can either do it with the, you know, just hitting like that. The more you put on, the more you're gonna have to, you know, go to the blow dryer. You can use a toothbrush and just let it fly. All these tools you can get either for free at home or at the dollar store. You can get 4 or 5 toothbrush is at the dollar store, and it doesn't have to cost you a lot. Now, when you have this done, I then like to put in pops of color. And so looking at this right away, I'm thinking my pop of color is going to be lime. So basically that quintessential Seahawks color. So I know that I'm going to be using red and copper and gold and some brown. And so I want a little pop of color. You can pull out the color wheel, but we're trying to keep it real intuitive right now. Just kind of think, what in the world is my pop of color gonna be? So far, very easy. We wrote down our feelings, we wrote down some goals, we wrote down who our tribe is, who has our back, who can I go to for help. Kind of giving myself a blueprint, solution. We wrote down any bad feeling we might be having, any good feeling we might be having. Maybe this is a celebratory painting, like woo. But typically, I know you all think that I get in front of the camera all the time. I must be super comfortable. Sometimes I have a little anxiety, a little less when I'm teaching a specific class, you know, a project, and I know how it goes step by step. A little more when it's something like this, where it's a little bit more intuitive and free. So I just get a little nervous too. So these things work great. Definitely when we came out with our art box, I was very nervous for a little while, but you guys all put me to rest, all my fears to rest there. And so you can betcha that I did a lot of this. Okay, so feel free to go to the blow dryer if you need to. I think I'll just take a second and do that. So my symbol is going to be heart with wings, and I'm going to use an oil pastel. Just a little chunk of one and pretty good. I'm going to paint with that oil pastel. What do I mean by that? I'm going to heat it up with a hairdryer and literally paint it in with my finger, the lines, so that it doesn't look like a crayon. It's a sexy, solid, almost looks painted line, but I did it with oil pastel. I'm going to paint my heart in brown first. Well, no, not brown. Red and brown mixed together. I forgot this wasn't my darker one. So all I'm going to do is a heart, leaving room for my wing, and I end up in the corner. And it doesn't have to be perfect, but I do like to make it super solid. So I'm going to go around it a couple times, pressing hard. You need a pretty decent oil pastel for this project. The ones that are in the art kits that the kids can't wait to get, they look like little suitcases. Those ones are a little wimpy, I found, for the most part. I like Portfolio has a good one. Is it Sudaki? I forgot the name of it. Just find one that melts really easy. And then I am the worst at drawing wings. So I kind of just do a hump and then a jaggedy line that goes down. So I'm going to do that right now. A hump and a jaggedy line that goes down and back. And then just outline it a couple times. If you're using the oil pastel correctly, your finger are going to be very dark and messy. That's going to feel good. So the kids have had in mind what they're going to use as their symbol. I've been asking them repeatedly, what's your symbol? What's going to stand for you today? Is it a cupcake? Is it a, a math book? Is it a Harry Potter one? Hi. Keeping it real. We're working from home. Got a kid playing video games right there, and I love it. Okay, so now I'm going to give myself a base coat. Lots of room on my plate. So I'm going to give it red and burnt sienna. And it's all about layers at this point, nice and thin layers. I'm going to go in with my 3/4 flat. And you have to ask yourself, do you like your abstract work showing through? And if you did, you might want to do thinner layers. You can certainly see it, my background underneath my heart. But it's not super noticeable. This is one of my favorite classes to teach, and we were teaching one a month. And honestly, if I could get like a grant to just go out into the world and just do this, I'd be gone, because it's good work getting people to find an alternative to anxiety or issues instead of acting out. So go ahead and fill that in. So this will be available for viewing, pretty much as soon as we finish filming. And I'll keep it on for a little while. So I'm going to go ahead and just take some white. Well, apparently I got green in there. Must have meant to be. White and a little teal. I'm going to fill in my wing. I'm going to go right up to my oil pastel. If you're just joining us, I'm Miss Kelly Sue with Cleopatra Art Studios, and we're painting Heart with Wing, abstract, and we are learning some anxiety tricks and tools for when things get rough. It looks a little different. My background was a little bit wet, but I think it just adds some nice streaks. part's almost dry. Let's see where I put my water, right here. So painting on paper. So the general rule of you can't water down your paint more than 50% is no longer valid when you're painting on paper. So you could water down your paint quite a bit and still be okay. The binder is going to attach itself to the paper, and it's kind of, you know, a meshy, crisscrossy situation, so it grips the binder and therefore the pigment, so you are fine. All right, so you need to ask yourself, do you want, if you're shedding, do you want darker, you know, do you want it less transparent? Do you want it a little bit more opaque where you can see just the red? Or do you like all the colors underneath that are kind of troubled? And big surprise, oh, I should have done this backwards so they'd be joined. Big surprise there, I like troubled. So I'm gonna go ahead and start in my metallics. And you know what, no, let's finish up with the oil pastel. I'm gonna go over it one more time. Okay, hold on a second. Dealing with sticky hands. I'm gonna go over it one more time and we're gonna melt it. And this is an amazing technique. I was just in there one day trying to get the paint to dry a little faster, and I noticed that the oil pastel was starting to heat and run, and I just rubbed it in, and when it dries, it looks amazing, people. So I'm just gonna move closer to the hairdryer. I think I'm gonna try to move you guys closer so you can see, I'm out of space. So you can see, guys, what I'm talking about. It's gonna just move you just a little closer. Sorry, you gotta go on that wild ride with me. Da-da-da. I want you to see how this melts and how I just kind of paint with it. Leave it there for a second. Leave it there long enough, it starts running. Whew. Gotta be kind of careful though, this form. I don't teach that technique to the kids, obviously. Pretty simple. And it just, you get this nice line that looks like it is kind of fuzzy paint. And when it dries, it looks fabulous, guys. I'm not kidding. I wouldn't do it with the kids, or maybe you could do it for them because your hands would, you know, get very hot. And it's all about safety. So then all we're really doing is we're worrying about, hold on a second, we're worrying about the metallics, the finishes, and that's what the kids are all about it. They're like, when can I have metallics? And I always tell them, you know, my gold and silver look best with colors underneath them because they don't look great with the white paper showing through them. So once again, I'm still finger painting at this time. It just feels amazing. And I'm gonna use, you can give them extra plates if you needed to, or maybe you just want to use all of yours. You have to keep them on a time frame. I always say the paint bar is going to close in a few minutes, or maybe you're working at home by yourself and you just don't have a time limit. So I'm going to put some streaks back in my wing. I had a little bit of white, and so you can flick some white if you wanted to. Flicking, and I do it with my middle finger again. I'm flicking the paint. I love to do that. It will get, some of that will be incorporated right now. I'm going to just come in with some gold, some copper. Typically I like to put copper down first and then go over it. I'm going with the curve. So typically I do copper then gold, but there's no rules today. We're doing abstract, intuitive painting. It's lovely. I love it. You can go in with some more red if you wanted to. You don't want an orangey red if you're doing a heart. You want something deep, intense, you know, a sexy red, maybe even a Christmas red. I have a dog snoring and a video game paddle going. Why do we have anxiety? I love it actually. All right, so in here, I want some streaks. You can paint some streaks if you wanted to. I was still trying to do everything with my finger because that's what I like to do. I like to activate that center of the brain that hasn't been, we haven't been using it. If you did something and you're not liking it, you can just go in and paint it white again, or just pick up some white. Guys, we're doing what feels good. It's intuitive. There's no rules today, because these are my feelings under here. You know, they're my good thoughts, my bad thoughts, my goals, my tribe, whatever you want to put down there. So I'll do a more in-depth class with specifically targeting goals, specifically targeting, you know, anxiety or pain, loss. This is a great exercise for grieving and loss. An amazing exercise. Ooh. Felt like the blue was a little much, but I'm going to go in there with my white. If you had puffy paints, that would be amazing too. Ta-da! We're so close to being done. So stick with me just a little longer. You can make your own glitter paint with your fine glitter. And of course I moved my table. So it's on this side of the table. Just, let's see, I'm gonna go with this turquoisey color. You can use golden fluid, golden glazing liquid, makes it shiny. You can make it with, you know, watered down Elmer's. That works just fine too. I used to buy my own, but once I figured out how to mix it, you know, unlimited color potential is very attractive. Just doing anything I want, any color I want. I'm just going to come in here and add my glitter. Okay, it might not look it, but to me it's very satisfying using my hands. If you wanted to Google current or modern artists that use their fingers to paint, Iris Scott is the real deal, guys. Her work is fabulous. And she uses her fingers, and she makes, you know, quite a bit per painting. And I bet we could talk to her about the benefits, the mental benefits of using your fingers to get paint out there. Now she uses oil paint, so she does use gloves. You can use gloves if you wish. You don't have to use fingers. That's not the the roll here. You can use brushes, whatever you want. And then I like to finish up with a little flick here and there of paint. I'm trying to decide. I really like, let's see if I can get any out of here. My golden fluid. The teal's fabulous. Just like to give a little action painting. So you might have to lay down a tarp before you start this project at home, but your kids will never forget it. And specifically if you end up hanging up their work afterwards. So here is my abstract heart with wings. It's not dry. When it dries, the metallics go crazy. They're amazing. And the shimmer from the glitter paints show up a little bit better. You're gonna have a mess on your hands, but you know, at least you don't have a mess on your heart anymore. You kind of got it out and feel really good. So hopefully you had a good time with me today, or maybe you're watching this at the replay. So stay safe, enjoy the snow, and happy Valentine's Day to y'all. Bye-bye.